I'm Ashton Addison from Blockwest Capital for Investment Pitch Media and the Crypto Coin Show. And today on Blockchain Interviews, we have Leonard Dorlöchter, co-founder of Peaq. Leo, welcome to the show, and thank you for taking the time to come on.
Hi, Ashton. Thanks a lot. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having us.
You're very welcome. I know Peaq has been working on some amazing things that are going to tie in blockchain to real-world value and integrate the physical and the digital. And let's just kick off our conversation with, from in your words, a little bit about Peaq, what your team is working on, and then we can dive into those details.
Sounds great. Yeah. So Peaq is the Web3 network for the economy of things, and the economy of things is really the big goal we're working towards, and it's kind of interchangeable with machine economy. So you can really imagine an economy that's emerging at the moment where machines are able to trade between one another and with humans goods and services, and that can be all kinds of goods and services. And we're really building the network, the infrastructure for this economy to emerge. And it's important that it's decentralized, and only there it can actually really function and be at its best. And happy to dive into that a little bit deeper.
Definitely. And thank you for that. And yeah, I don't think people realize just how important machines already are. But once they have more integrate into the economy of things, and they're working with each other, and they continue to get smarter. Let's just hope it doesn't get to the point where they take over the world. Maybe you can make sure Peaq is programming machines for good and not for evil. But it is definitely a lot of work still to go in this part of the industry. Maybe you can touch a little bit on, before we get to the blockchain part, more about the economy of things and Web3 and how the internet ties into real world machines.
Yes, absolutely. So maybe we take one machine as an example, which is vehicles or really cars that are getting and becoming autonomous, that are able to really function by themselves and drive around and offer goods and services like rides to people. They have to then also charge, so they have to pay other machines and other people as well to basically sustain and be able to let's even call it to live, because they will work basically for themselves and be active. And this is something where it really is important that the machine is able to transact with its environment and be able to interact with all kinds of stakeholders in an autonomous manner. And the problem right now is, if you would do this in the Web2 and the centralized internet, then you have certain machines that are existing on one platform, that have their existence on this one platform, and this is a closed silo, and then those machines are not able to interact with machines that are existing on other platforms, or users are registered with one platform and can't access machines that are again existing on another platform. So it's really closed systems all over the place, a lot of silos and walled gardens they exist behind, and they can't really be an economy emerging of machines on the current internet infrastructure. And that's where Web3 and the blockchain comes in.
Definitely. Great segue into making transactions and making them efficient, and making sure that everyone's on the same channel and the same currency. With the increased globalization, especially with machines that are working over the internet or remotely, they're probably not transacting in some local town's currency. It's going to need to be all standardized, and the communication channels need to be proper. And in terms of the blockchain side of that, I know that Peaq is working with the Polkadot technology to help achieve these goals. Maybe you can talk a little bit about why that technology is the best for Peaq.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so the public Peaq network we're about to release and will be launched this year is built on substrate correctly, which is the framework the Polkadot ecosystem is built on top. And we decided to go with the Polkadot ecosystem, because first of all, it enables the interoperability, really the network of networks. And we see this as the future of Web3. There will be so many different networks that need to be able to interact with one another to have a decentralized internet. Then Substrate is a very sophisticated framework that really provides us with everything we need to build. And we also see the future of Peaq as becoming kind of a network of networks for the economy of things, so that Peaq could be a relay chain for the economy of things connecting to the Polkadot main relay chain. And then there are different sub-chains on the Peaq network. So it is really scalable. And on top of all of that, Polkadot is also an extremely healthy ecosystem to launch. And there's not much maximalism going on. And it's very open and it's very well done.
Definitely. And I know that, you know, Polkadot has so much promise, but with Peaq growing, also Polkadot ecosystem will continue to grow, and also just the economy of things and Web3 will continue to grow. And it's very early right now. You know, we don't have cars that can drive themselves, never mind pay us and pay them yet. And all of the other kind of technologies, but hopefully that gets down to the consumer level in the coming years. As far as Peaq's technology, how long has your team been working on this, and where are you sort of at right now with it?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we started with early projects already back in end of 2017, where we co-initiated Advanced Blockchain AG, which is a German publicly listed software development firm. And Peaq was growing under that umbrella as its own project. And back then we started focusing really on working together with machine manufacturers and OEMs in Germany, such as Audi, to really identify the use cases that create real business value and the problems that are worth to be solved. So we worked for quite some time creating private networks, working with enterprises, and are now in the process of really bringing all of that learning and value onto a public Peaq network, because this is really how it can work. It's impossible to disrupt current ecosystems. If you try to build centralized platforms using blockchain technology, then you just change the underlying technology, but the entire governance and openness aspects are not coming with that. So yeah, we've been working on that for many years, really gaining a lot of experience in which are the use cases that make sense. For example, there's decentralized charging, there's car sharing that can be done in a decentralized manner. Like you could imagine really offering your car in the future to anyone really, and then they can drive it, you can earn money with it. And of course you need to tie in insurances and regulators, but that's all possible. We will have really a future where the sharing economy becomes normal, and we can use resources much better, and all of us will be able to earn from those smart machines like vehicles in a very effective way, and not just a few big platforms.
That's amazing. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. And the Open Blockchain Initiative, I actually just saw that Peaq is getting involved with the MOBI, Mobile Open Blockchain Initiative. How is that going to help as well move towards getting this, realized into the real world?
Yeah, MOBI is doing very important work since many years on bringing together key players from the automotive and mobility space in general to develop standards that are then being used for example, vehicle identity standards, basically self-sovereign identities for vehicles, and many other things. So they really bring together the different players, develop together with the different player standards, and then those standards can be implemented on blockchain networks, so that also, for example, there's a vehicle that's running on the Peaq network, and then there's a charging station that's running on another blockchain network, and they can still talk and identify one another because the same standards have been used to implement this. And yeah, we joined MOBI to first of all, of course, leverage those standards and contribute to them, but also to kick off new projects and bring in all the knowledge and learning we've gathered in the automotive industry, because otherwise there are again different silos in the mobility space that are working on similar or the same use cases, and it makes much more sense to collaborate, especially in Web3. It's all about creating composability and working together in an open and permissionless spirit. And yeah, that's why that's an important initiative for the mobility domain and blockchain.
Definitely, well said. And I completely understand on terms of the machines and the robots speaking to each other and making sure everything is working on the same channel. And I'm curious about the end users. Let's say, for example, with the car and people that are going to be utilizing the Peaq network. Did they also have to come in and use some kind of Peaq currency or Polkadot currency to interact with the machines? And like, how do the end users get involved with Peaq?
Yeah, that's a very, very good question. And that's actually key to adoption, really enabling this. Like, end users should not even really know what's happening in the background. They shouldn't know it's blockchain running there. They should just have a great user experience. And we're working exactly on that and on creating easy integrations for mobility service providers, for example, in the charging ecosystem, or existing apps that then can leverage the Peaq network and all the logic that's running there as an alternative backend to a centralized backend, for example, and still offer the users great user experience and own that user journey. And that's extremely important. And for example, if you do a transaction, you need Peaq tokens to pay for those transaction fees, but there are ways to make it seamless for the user, that a user doesn't have to top up their wallet with Peaq tokens first before they can do a transaction. Because if that's the case, the maximalists may be gonna do this, but not the majority. And of course, it needs to be user friendly for everyone that is able to use a mobile app.
Definitely. I think that's the usability and the user experience are going to be key to end user adoption, and lowering those barriers to entry to not have to run your own Polkadot node or set up some technical thing just to try and interact with the network. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out as it continues to grow. In terms of the industry itself and the economy of things in the real world, tying in this technology into that technology in the real world, how far along do you see the other side of the table, getting to a point where these cars are ready, the other robots are ready to use this technology and people can use it?
Yeah, that's also a very good point. And definitely the adoption through manufacturers and the real world is something that takes a lot of time and work, especially working with a lot of big companies which have slow processes. But in Europe, for example, there's an initiative called Gaia-X, which is setting the European data infrastructure, and it's funded by the EU with roughly 100 billion. And there is one consortium which we're working in that's led by Bosch, for example, where we're standardizing together with many more players identities for mobility and also data sharing in the mobility space. And that's really moving forward. So it has a lot of government backing, many big corporations are involved, and a lot of Web3 projects are part of that as well. So we're really bringing in this new technology, and big companies and governments cooperate on implementing it and creating a decentralized sovereign data infrastructure. And in the next 3 years, we will do a lot there, and we have access to entire smart cities and test fields where we can implement those use cases and really test them. And this is a great ground to adoption, because it gets also a lot of public attention. So we're moving, I'd say. I mean, of course, it takes time, but a lot of good things are happening, and a lot of capital is getting deployed also in terms of public funding.
Definitely. Yeah, moving in the right direction. Glad to hear that you're paying attention to the industry. Obviously, that's very important. In terms of the next steps for the Peaq team, in the shorter term, in the next 6 months and throughout 2022, what are the main things that your team is looking to get out and work on?
Yeah, so we will be, in the next 6 months, first we will release very shortly core functionalities that we have had on the private networks, but open source them for the public network, which is our machine identity, access, role-based access control for machines, then also payment to enable seamless payment and applications like a normal user applications. We will be launching our public testnet, and then also our public mainnet will be running for Kusama parachain and Polkadot parachain, and really release a lot we've been working on the past couple of months. So we have an exciting 6 months ahead.
Very exciting. And for the viewers that want to follow along, learn more about Peaq's technology and the economy of things, what's the best way for them to get involved into the communities?
Yeah, so our Twitter channel, definitely, then our Telegram channel are two good places. We will be opening a Discord channel very soon. I think, and on LinkedIn, we're also active. So it's probably best to follow Twitter, LinkedIn, and Telegram, and then the Discord channel, and all major updates will be distributed there. And we're looking forward to working closely together with the community and also developers from the space, to bring the economy of things forward.
Amazing. Looking forward to that. And I will leave all those links for the viewers in the description box so they can get involved in the communities if they're interested as well. I really thank you for taking the time, Leonard, to come on and talk about Peaq. This is really fascinating technology that I'm excited to use it in the real world, as the technology and Web3 integrates. Very exciting times ahead. All the best with Peaq moving forward, and let's follow up in the near future.
Thanks a lot, Ashton, for having us again, and it was a pleasure.